again for joining us for Communication Steroids podcast. I'm Tim Gonzo Gordon.
And I'm Roger Pike.
And today we're going to talk about...
the writer's strike.
Oh, yeah, the writer's strike.
Yeah,
oh, my gosh. You know, it's kind of funny. I've been reading about this. You've been hearing about it. It's been affecting our TV shows that we like to watch, although, to be honest, I don't watch that much TV. But all the daily shows. And now we're taping this on Wednesday night, the 7th. The strike is 2 days old. This will actually be posted probably Monday or Tuesday of next week, so we're going to be a few days behind. But nonetheless, they say this strike is going for the long haul. Both sides are kind of hunkered down. They got their heels dug in, and they're going to get what they're going to get, you know.
And you may wonder what this has to do with our bailiwick, what we do at Communication Steroids, but and the answer that is simple. It has to do with one of the things that we talk about all the time at Communication Steroids, and one of the places where people have a great opportunity to make significant inroads and the opportunity for personal growth as communicators, and that is the new media. It's amazing, but that's pretty much what this strike is all about.
We've actually done a session in our audio training series, Communication Steroids, and on the new media. And there was a lot in there with what these guys are trying to do, not directly, but it touches on what they are really looking for, which is money from the internet, from shows that go online, that go on your cell phone. I mean, this is a new market for them, and they don't want to be left out.
And that's what the writers are asking for. They're asking for a piece of the new media pie.
And generally speaking, the whole communication things, I mean, there's, I think, 17,000 writers that are on strike, that are involved in the Writers Guild of America West and East, the Hollywood, the New York versions, because shows are filmed in both, and there's a couple of separate divisions of that. But I was surprised that it was that many. 17,000 writers are on strike, and some of them are rather famous because they're also actors. You know, Tina Fey, I believe, is on strike, and she was the old Saturday Night Live gal who's got the new show, 30 Rock. Yeah. And from what I understand, a lot of the shows have 8 or 10 shows in the can, but after that there's nothing. A few shows are lucky. They've got a whole season written and filmed or almost produced.
And most of those are the cable, Showtime kinds of shows.
But the daily shows, the Letterman, the Leno, the Jon Stewart Daily Show, they rely on material on a daily basis because they have to be topical. They're in reruns already, and will be for the foreseeable future. So what do you think about this, Roger?
Well, I'm, me, I'm a labor kind of guy. I always favor the guy who does the heavy lifting to get more money. So if there's money to be made in the new market, I think that the people who write the shows ought to have a piece of it. But then again, you know the kind of guy I am. So
yes, I do. I kind of knew where you're coming from, and to be honest, I agree with you on this. I don't know how they're going to slice and dice the almighty dollar in this. They have said that, the last strike was 88. It was 18 or 20 years ago. And when all was said and done, after 6 months of being on strike, there was a $500 million taken out of the industry because of the strike that was not made. And that was not insignificant, obviously, even to an industry that makes tons and tons of money.
Well, yeah, let's face it. A lot of people who advertise on television, when the commercials come on, they pay big money to advertise for those commercials. And one of the things that rates are based on, that ad rates are based on, that is what the networks can charge people for airtime to air their commercials, is the market share, which means if reruns start and people quit watching, market share goes down, which means the amount of money that networks can charge for commercial airtime falls, and sometimes falls dramatically. That's why a 30-second spot during the Super Bowl is going to cost you millions of dollars.
And last time it gave rise to shows like Cops, for instance. I think that was one of the significant shows that came out of that. Was there's no writers involved. You just send a camera crew out and you follow policemen around and you edit it together. I mean, reality shows came out of that. I would suspect if this continues, you're going to see some shows that are going to be dreamt up really quickly and put on the air to fill space.
We're going to be absolutely buried with reality shows. I mean, it's,
Well, I wanted to. I found this doing some research on this issue because I think it's a very interesting issue. It has to do with it's mass communication, really, is what it is, and this entertainment is communication, and that's what this is. It's TV, it's internet, it's radio, it's everything. But Barry Levinson is a director who's directed things like Diner, Toys, Bugsy, Wag the Dog, Sphere, a great list of great movies. And there was an interview that he did for one of the papers, I believe, in New York, and I just want to quote here. He says, "I think the strike is going to be a long, drawn-out process. A place like GE can say, let's get back in a couple of months. But all the networks can look around and say, we're all on strike, we're all on reruns, therefore we're spending less on production, even if we're earning a little less in advertising, so we're all on equal footing and competitive. It's difficult negotiating with them because there's so little real understanding. This is about a mixed culture. When Paley owned CBS, he understood it because he dealt with all his people on a regular basis. His world was radio and TV, and so was Sarnoff at NBC. They were more connected to the thing, and now we've got a much more distant ownership. He says, and that's the difference between Warner and Zanuck and all the people today. They're all just employees of massive companies like Sony, and so the writer's strike may not be much to them. It may, sort of annoy them, but it's not going to impact their bottom line as much because they're huge corporations, and this is a minor thing to them.
I've got to wonder how minor it's going to be when you're not just talking about the immediate loss of revenue. You're talking about the loss of future revenue, because even if the writers, let's say the writers go on strike for five months, even if they come back, it's going to take them a while to gear up with new shows that can then go into production. Then there's production time. So even the day the writers return, it will be months before the shows are new again.
And their shows, for instance, my favorite show is 24, and I read that they have about 8 or 9 episodes in the can, but that's all they've got written. So, and they start those in January. So if they don't get this thing resolved by, say, the middle of January, to get ramped up to finish that off, all of a sudden you're going to get to hour 8, which is going to be about 2 in the afternoon, and the show's just going to stop.
Yeah. Well, and my favorite show is Lost. And if they don't bring me some kind of conclusion,
they're gonna lose you.
I'm gonna go. No, they're not just gonna lose me. I'm gonna go postal. I'm AK-47.
Roger's gonna go ballistic. So this really does affect a lot of people in a lot of different ways. It affects entertainment because millions of people obviously watch shows. Where are they going to go? They're going to go online. They're going to get their entertainment online. What's going to happen? I mean, because there's YouTube out there. A lot of people scroll and trawl YouTube for fun stuff, and they can spend hours doing that. They may take their TV time and move it online for a large degree.
If the strike goes long term, in the short run, you're going to see more reality shows. You're going to see more.
I don't know, but just keep talking.
If the strike goes long term, in the short run, what you're going to see is more reality shows. You're going to see more reruns, and you're going to see more sporting events done live. You may see international soccer for all we know.
Lacrosse, rugby. What are those games?
You're going to see a ton of that.
It's going to change. Certainly, the impact we don't really know yet, but it certainly had a great impact 20 years ago, and I think it'll be even more today. Anyway, we just wanted to talk about that issue. We thought it was interesting, and it has to do with communications, and so we'll meet next week, same time, same podcast. I'm Tim Gordon.
And I'm Roger Pike.
And this is Communication Steroids.